Green Lantern War Journal, issue 12, Phillip Kennedy Johnson with Mantos on the art. So, this is the concluding issue of this. We're saying goodbye to it. John has access to the Ring of Olgrin, and he therefore is able to command the Radiant Host and kind of push that back. So, ends up being quite simple in the end, although Bila does kind of like snuff it on his way out here to like sort of give John some dying words of advice to let him sort of access the power.
Yeah, like a noble sacrifice kind of deal.
Yeah. Not that he made that choice to sacrifice himself, though. No. To be fair, it wasn't like something he had a say in. But yeah, so yeah, it's kind of nice though, because John like has a whole thing where he's like, "I'm sorry what happened to Anja. You know, like it was awful, but like you know, I'm putting a stop to this right now." Because at first it's like two big demonic hands of Oldrun are coming through like a portal, and it's like like John's going to be the conduit for it. But the whole point here is that John can control this stuff. He because he has the ring, he has Aldrin's will. He then ends up puppeteering the hands and is able to like sort of win the fight by using the hands. It was a really cool bit of art, and I really like the layout of that page as well. It's a 2-page layout where the panels kind of snake down. Really good stuff. With the pink backgrounds really contrasting with the green of the Green Lantern colors. So really cool.
Just the hands coming through that void too, that is the stuff of nightmares.
Yeah. Well, because you've got the scale, because you see John at the bottom, so you can tell just how big these hands are.
Yeah, you have these big hands, and then all the purple creatures around it, and it's in this big, you know, almost church-like building too. Like, it was definitely giving me like Cthulhu kind of vibes. So I mean,
I think that's what I've liked about Johnson's writing at DC in general, is how big things feel when he puts the time into them.
He does have a legendary aspect to it, right? Where this almost feels like a you know, like a mythological story. So maybe not legendary, but he writes for mythology really well, and not just like character mythology. But this feels epic and big, just like Warworld did.
Yeah. So yeah, wins the fight. Everyone's kind of happy to like see him. Like all the aliens that he saved are delighted.
The Fen.
Yeah, and John's like, "Hey, something's going on back at Earth. We have to go back." He even mentions as well that the Fen, because the other aliens are there as well. They're all happy, but the Fen are still kind of like they've been changed by all this radiant energy, and it's going to like maybe one day they'll remember who they are, even if their physical form never returns. Maybe they can find some kind of life, but he wants to go back to Earth because he knows that his mum's in trouble. So they go back to Earth, and of course we see the mum who's been encased in like the LA Green Lantern energy, so that she becomes the one fighting. Cool. Yeah, and she's basically saying, "Oh, like, you know, my son is like a builder and he's an engineer, and he didn't get that from me. He's very smart, but he did get his hatred of bullies from me." So it gives you this idea that she has the will to fight. And you know, what's his name, Vexen or whatever it is, the Varen, yeah, the evil Green Lantern from the other realm, who's now this just radiant dead avatar.
Well, he was one of what's his name from Green Lantern, who's running the Corps right now. He was one of his lanterns that got hit by the radiant dead, which I didn't realize this was supposed to be. I'm like, I know that it was probably early on that it happened, right? But so much happens in this book. I just thought it was a Revenant. I didn't realize it was him making it personal, which I think adds an extra layer that I really like.
Yeah.
Coming after Shirley. So.
Yeah, that was like a big thing in the first half of this book, was like him hunting down John and then eventually getting infected by the Radiant Dead. So one of the details here that I really liked is that he keeps saying to her, "Oh, like, you're sick and you're dying. Like, you have almost no time left anyway, so why are you fighting?" And it's this idea that she thinks that a few moments, even if she's only alive for a few moments after this fight, that's worth fighting for still. So yeah, she's got a great bit of spirit. It makes you want to root for her, makes you like her beyond just, oh, she's John's mom, so we should care about her. You know?
Well, we got that whole aspect that she was a fighter during the civil rights movement, right? And so it's always been about that fighting spirit and not giving up. And even if I have to lay down here, it'll be worth it for, you know, the change that comes after me.
Yeah, it's nice that a lot of effort went into in this book of making us care about her on her own as a character, and not just because, oh, John will be upset because his mum's dead.
Yeah.
You know? So John, Shepard, and Guy show up, and you know, like the Green Lantern of LA like splits from the mum, And it seems like she's gone, but of course she was infected by the Radiant Dead.
Mm-hmm.
And John's like, hey, I've got the Ring of Volgren now. I can like take
Mm-hmm.
that Radiant Dead out now. I can control that.
Mm-hmm.
And she's still, lol, she was still sick, and she was still, on her way out even before that. And then it does something at the end here, which I think we can only sort of speculate exactly what John does here. But it seems like the Ellie he created, via sheer willpower or whatever, did effectively become sentient life in some form, right? That was mentioned even by Varen at one point in the issue. Yeah. And at the end here, it seems like he put his mum's soul in the ring. Am I misreading this at the end?
That's what it felt like to me, because the whole scene where they put their hands together, right? He goes, but you have to let me go. He goes, have to? I don't do well with that, Mama. A Green Lantern can do anything.
Yeah, and then when it skips ahead, weeks later, he's with Ellie, right? Who's not the real Ellie, of course. It's the Ellie that's came from
It's a construct. Yeah.
But now she's still just around, like, now she's just, like, on her own. Like, John's not doing anything to keep her around. She just exists now. So she's, like, helping build, like, a dam, I think it is. And, yeah, like, and then, like, we hear him talk to the ring, like Green Lantern sometimes do, but the attitude of the voice from the ring sounds a lot like his mum. And sure, when he, like, projects her out of the ring, we see not old version of her, we see the young version of her that she became when she was fighting. So this is like when she was doing civil rights stuff. This is the age she was then. I guess you could say it's her in her prime, if you want to call it anything.
It's how she wants to be remembered, right?
So it's interesting. I mean, part of me thinks, I think long term this could have some negative like effects on John in terms of like therapy, but it is interesting.
It could be positive too, because it's like, yes, he lost his mom, but not really, because he's able to essentially put her spirit. If I'm reading this correctly, he put her spirit in the ring.
That's what it felt like to me once I got to the final page, because I was really trying to decipher it as I was reading it. And I'm like, it seems like he just put her in the ring, and now she's always in there to help him, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I suppose the question is if you believe in some kind of afterlife, is he keeping her from that by putting her in the ring? I don't know. Like,
I mean, I guess that depends on what afterlife you believe in. Because if her afterlife is to be, she's still doing these good deeds, right?
It's just interesting though, because now she's more of a construct than the daughter is, even though the daughter is.
That's the thing that gets me, and I'm sure it'll be explained through other stuff, but just the fact that Ellie looks like a full human, right? Like there's not even a green tinge to her anymore, like it used to have. I'm having trouble rectifying that, because like, is John just that? Was his will just enough that he's able to create a construct life?
No, I'm going to say that this is maybe tied to him getting the Will of Volgren as well. That, there's more to it than just the Green Lantern energy.
Yeah.
Because even before, like, it wasn't like his ring was just a normal ring that was like, connected to the power battery, right? It was already different.
Right.
So, yeah. Plus he's special. He's the builder, all that stuff. I don't know. It feels like there's a lot of things going on here to make it feel like it's possible.
And here's the thing too: does he build this dam out of Green Lantern energy, and then it just becomes pink at the end, like he created Ellie? Is he just creating, matter?
Yeah, now that you say that, it does seem like it does just become real afterwards.
Yeah. So he's, through his force, it's not just creating constructs, he's creating matter. Is this what makes him the builder? Is this what, everything was about? That version that Shepard came from, right?
If this is something that sticks around and other writers actually adhere to it, that he's special amongst the Green Lanterns because his constructs become lasting and real, then that is a big deal, and I'm okay with it as long as they keep exploring it and they keep saying, hey, he's special because he can do this. None of the other Green Lanterns can do that. That is actually wild. That could be something, as long as they... And it does say at the end, John Stewart's adventures continue in Green Lantern 15 plus Green Lantern Civil Corps coming in the fall. So... I mean, we'll see if they even keep bringing this up. I hope they do. I hope the editorial don't let them just forget this. Yeah,
it really, because all this talk, we always hear that Hal is the greatest Green Lantern and stuff, but, John sometimes I feel gets the short shrift because he always had to be this noble, he was the architect and he had to be this stoic, Marine and whatever. And here it adds this layer of not just a builder, but life matters to him. He's almost like a keeper, right? Like a guardian in and of himself. And I like that lane for him because it takes him beyond a Green Lantern, right? He's like leveled up. Whereas Hal, I feel like Hal has that ceiling just because he doesn't respect authority and all that type of stuff. Whereas John can go and become something greater than just a Green Lantern.
Yeah. I hope they keep it up, and like editorial sort of keeps them thinking about the fact that this is what the status quo is now, and it's not just something that's forgotten until someone decides to do something new with John. But we'll see. I mean, hopefully Johnson's still around to influence some of these ideas going forward. This was a great mini though. The art was great. I mean, I think it's sometimes the backstory to Olgrun and all that stuff was so dense that it did suffer a little bit sometimes between the months of remembering everything. I think reading this in like one 12-issue trade is going to be a great experience. And to be fair though, whenever they did do heavy backstory stuff, when they actually showed us like the sad backstory of
Olgrun and not Violet, Anja.
Anja, yeah. When they showed that backstory, it was quite compelling. So, yeah, very good.
It just makes me wonder what aspect of Olgrun showing up in Batman and Robin. Because we got Warworld, we've got this now, and now Johnson's going to Batman and Robin, so... I'm
amazed you remember what... Because I knew he was on a book, but I could not have remembered in a million years what book he was on.
He's one of my favorite writers. Of course, I know I'm paying attention, All
right, what will you give him War Journal 12?
8.5.
Yeah. I'll say 8, and my only reason for that is that the ending to the fight with or dealing with Olgrun and like all that stuff like that felt like it happened quite quickly, quite early in the issue, so it felt maybe just a tad rushed to me. So I'll dock it a little bit for that. It's the only real critique I would have, to be honest.
Also, a thing that we kind of skipped over was when Shirley's fighting Varen, she takes the form of the knight versus the dragon in the book that she used to read, Ellie.
Oh yeah, that was a nice touch. Yeah,
I thought it was a really nice touch. And then even Varen takes the form of a dragon. So a lot of great storytelling from Montos there.
Yeah. I mean the art's gorgeous. I mean we kind of alluded to a few of the layouts as we were talking, but it is pretty gorgeous, and more Montos at DC would be delightful. So
yes, absolutely.
Happy days.